And we are live. So let us see how it's going now. All right. Live chat. Get it started. And still waiting on some people. Any people to show up. 3 people here so far. So, last night's stream got taken down. Well, not taken down, hidden. So that's what today is about. Hey, what's up, Mike? Mike Atherton is here. Yeah, man. If you want to rewatch last night's episode, you can't. And okay, I took it down now for the time being, but before I did, YouTube messed around with it. And I'll get into that a little bit later because this one most likely will be taken down also. And anyway, it's pretty fucked up, man. So today is kind of a test to see what happened. So, Mike, I guess you're not working right now, are you? No, eh? And what what are they doing over there, or what are you doing over there to kind of make sure that you land on your feet afterwards? Do you have a plan at all? I'm not trying to get like personal. I'm just curious because every country is different. And here they have this big bailout plan that I talked about yesterday too, and I talked about how they're pretty much forcing it on everybody. It's for businesses, but it's not even for businesses. It's for pretty much everybody. Like even if you're working and you're on employment insurance, you get this also. Like, and people have been getting double payments, payments for twice the amount that they're supposed to get. And the Canadian Revenue Agency is insisting that this is normal and this is just and it's retroactive. So they're just going to print up as much money as they fucking want. And even if, a few people refuse it, which I think everybody should refuse it, but if everyone doesn't refuse it, then it's almost pointless because those that do end up fucking suffering and end up being the only ones that can't quote unquote make ends meet. But those set ends shouldn't be met. If all it takes to keep things going is printing fucking paper and putting it into circulation, then you don't need the paper. Really, just fucking exempt people from fucking payments. That's it. So anyway, yeah, so they're forcing this fucking giant bailout on us. And I don't think that's the reason that the stream got taken down. And it's interesting. I'll get into that like a little bit more as if anyone else shows up. But the way they did it's very sneaky. And so I'll recap a little bit to anyone that didn't see yesterday's. And they might do this. They might do this to all my streams in the future, or they just might shut down my channel for something as benign and arbitrary as what we talked about yesterday. Hey, a boy named Gilroy is here. Hey, what's up, man? So Mike says we're not sure yet. My employers might be bailing me out or seek temporary unemployment payments. Honestly, and this is fucked up, man. I really believe that if you don't hold it, then you don't own it. Like, that's it. And I don't see any way around this. Like, whatever happens next, it's not going to be a soft transition. It can't be. And I think the entire thing is brought on by, the government essentially and people insisting that every transition is soft. And we talked about markets yesterday and the economy. And the thing is that the government, they don't recognize that a market or an economy is like a living, breathing fucking animal. And it expands and it contracts and it fluctuates and it gets bigger and it gets smaller. And this is normal. Demand grows and shrinks. You can't regulate it. I'm not saying that it's wrong to regulate it. It is wrong to regulate it, but you can't. Physically, you can't. And this happens when you try to regulate everything. And this happens when a bunch of morons that have no idea how to even work at the lowest level of said industries try to regulate said industries. So, I believe that it's wrong. I think this is a lesson in totalitarianism that's happening right before our eyes. And no one cares. People are ignoring it. And they don't want to understand that the system is broken, A, and B, they've been willingly paying into a broken system, their entire life. Hence the name of the live stream, kiss the ring, motherfucker. Because people that defend the status quo, that's what they're doing. That's what they're just kissing the ring. How many people do you know like this? They say they're fed up with their job, and then you tell them to start something new and to work on their own. And it's just excuse after excuse after excuse about why they can't do it or why they're too important to do it. It's like, I'm so important that I have no marketable skills. It's like, yeah, way to go, fuck. And all, yeah, the government are willing to pay 80% of wages. Here they're paying 75%, I think, but people are going to try to game the system and get more. But the whole thing is that what's this going to be worth if there are no goods and services to buy with it or to put it up against? It's literally Zimbabwe currency. And, in Canada, that's what it is now. And they came out with the bailout package that came into effect on Monday. And everyone, unless you're working right now, like full time, and unless you're working for the government or for one of the huge chains that have been deemed an essential service that the government gets a big piece of, chances are you're going to be getting this benefit. But the benefit is not for you. It's for the banks. And this is no secret, even on the website, even on the government website, ever since they were proposing it, ever since the get-go. They say it's to bail out, or it's, they don't use the word bail out, obviously, but they say it's to save the banks and to save creditors from people defaulting on their payments. So again, if that were really the case, why not just save the creditors outright? Why do you have to give money, to the debtors so that the debtors can give money to the creditors? It doesn't make sense. And that's not how it works. Another thing too is the thing that frustrates me too. Yeah, exactly. A boy named Gilroy. Oh, that is going on the screen. Didn't that mangina that runs Canada essentially import half of Zimbabwe into Toronto already? In more ways than one, man. And that's a fucking sick channel avatar. I never saw it up close. Maybe I did and didn't comment on it, but yeah, seeing it up close is fucking cool, man. And yeah, so what happened yesterday? That's why I'm putting up some comments in the chat yesterday. So what happened yesterday? We were talking about stuff for an hour and a half, and it was pretty benign. I had a 3.5 hour live stream the other day where we got into all sorts of stuff, and that one I took down because it's too long, and I want to edit it. But again, I watched about 2/3 of it. I don't want to watch the whole thing just to edit it again. So we got into it pretty deep, and I didn't have any problems. And we did 2 of them before that where we talked about the deep state and we talked about, the stupid, idiotic bailout, and we talked about helicopter money, and we talked about the economic collapse, and I talked about all my theories. There's no problem. Everything showed up fine. People even were able to search it, or people were even able to find it, that were not subscribed to me. Just if you search economic collapse, my video would show up somewhere in there. So yesterday, we talked about some stuff. And as usual, when the live stream ends, it's supposed to get uploaded. So it never got uploaded. It just never did. And then when I tried to find it on my channel, I couldn't. And I had to go into the YouTube Studio app on my phone to find it. And the video said still processing. Now I could not find the video on my channel anywhere. I had to go into Creator Studio under live streams, and I had to find it there. And if it was standard access, like for any of my subscribers, or even for myself, viewing my channels myself, I could not find the video. So I had to go into my email, the fucking notification that I got on my email saying that I was live last night, and I could click on that and I could watch my own video and I could embed the link. But on that version of the video, even though it was made completely public, the live chat was disabled. And I did not disable the live chat. I do not disable the live chat. I like having it. I think it's shit when it's disabled, fuck, because you can't see what people are saying. And it gives you the option, so why not put it up? And people were dropping a lot of fucking truth bombs last night. So no, I did not disable the live chat. So YouTube and the powers that be did it for me. And not only that, they made my video unfindable. They put it basically, they gave it an unlisted setting, even though it wasn't unlisted. Now I switched it. I switched it from private to public to unlisted just to see if I could kind of, hey, what's up, Steve? Just to see if I could kind of shock it back into existence. And yeah, I'm talking about the video. Steve Thompson was here last night for the live stream, and YouTube hit it. And not only that, when I managed to find it, they basically set it to unlisted, even though it was listed as public. And they disabled the fucking live chat. And remember what we were talking about in the live chat yesterday? And they're doing this, by the way. It's public knowledge. It's not a conspiracy. I just didn't know that they were going to be so microscopic about it. But they're actually disabling fucking videos completely that talk about the subject matter that we talked about last night. And I guess that they didn't have enough manpower to actually go through the video physically and take out the bad keywords or the bad words that I used. But in the chat, it showed up right away. So we're going to see what happens today, because yesterday we were talking not only about 5G, but we were talking about coronavirus, and we were talking about the possible links between the two, or mistaking symptoms of one possibly for symptoms of the other. And all this stuff was hidden. And no, I didn't hide this. So like I said, man, I knew that they were doing this, but I didn't know that they were going to be doing it on such a microscopic level. So it's kind of fucked up, man. And I told some people about this, and they don't believe me. It must be my fault, right? It just must be my own stupidity. So I'm going to talk about it again today. For the people that missed it, we had a good chat. And it's more about just shooting the shit and telling you guys what fucking happened and why that video is not uploaded. And because I don't want to upload a version of it where people can't see the discussion on the side, especially since much of the discussion happened on the side. And not only that, it makes it look like I don't know how to make fucking videos. So I keep saying I want to get on a schedule, but I do these things like now anyway, because I think there's a need for them, or at least I feel that I need to do them. So, if I'm able to go live, I will go live. And this is kind of how I felt a year ago when they took away, our ability to live stream from our phones. If you had under, 1,000 subscribers, and they demonetized you for having under 1,000 subscribers. And You can't fucking create posts anymore. Like you never, it's just fucking annoying, man. You can't do any of the shit that the big channels have because they got grandfathered in. And this is how they keep you small. And it really, 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 really fucking sucks. And we talked about, it's a good expression, but we talked about kissing the ring yesterday. And that's what they want you to do. And, Steve, you can relate to this one. But what I like now is that on the YouTube pages for like the mainstream media in Canada, usually people toe the establishment line so fucking hard, but now most of the videos have even more downvotes than upvotes. And like a good 2/3 of the comments, like people are angry. And it's, once again, put the malice and incompetence of the government aside. Just consider the notion of someone else regulating things and how impossible and daunting a task that must be. There is physically no way for it to fucking happen. And you can employ as many people as possible to regulate things, especially industries that none of those people have any experience in, but it doesn't matter. Employ as many regulators as you want. It's not going to make any market any better. It's not going to make any market any more stable. It's like trying to regulate the outside temperature. The seasons will change, 4 times a year. Like arguably, it doesn't matter what you do. What you do is just going to end up fucking with everything. And people don't, they understand, I guess. The masses don't understand, but the people doing the regulating, they kind of fucking understand that all they're doing is fucking everything up. But what really frustrates me is that all the people trusting in their slave masters to always do what's right. Now, and no matter what. And, another thing I wanted to talk about today is that good old authority bias that everyone seems to have about everybody. We mentioned this a little bit in the live stream the other day that never went up, but, you should listen. Now, look, I'm not saying there are no experts, but everyone says you should listen to the experts. Now, my question to them is, who are the experts? And people are going to say, okay, well, for medicine, it's doctors. Okay, well, which doctors? Any doctor? Because a lot of doctors disagree with each other on a lot of stuff. A lot of lawyers disagree with each other on a lot of stuff. That's their job, to disagree. And forget that. And, people say that this is pseudoscience, like, what I'm saying right now, and that because I'm about to say that sometimes like scientific consensuses change, or that, other than things like 2 + 2 = 4, let's describe like what a scientific consensus actually is. But, my whole point is that how could anyone with a brain trust, let's say the government, for instance, to quote unquote make things all better? Even if they had the best of intentions, how could they? It doesn't work like that. And then they think, oh, maybe if they're super smart, like it works like that. Well, how smart is super smart? And, if the authority bias is real, then why doesn't every single recognized and certified authority on every subject matter in the entire world, why don't they all agree on everything? Why aren't they robots? Honestly, I would trust a robot. The robot everywhere would give a standardized fucking answer. Yeah, scientific consensus is follow the money. And yeah, science advances one death at a time, right? I love that one. So for instance, if you read the headlines of the mainstream news, it's things they show the Canada's new Minister of Propaganda, Dr. Theresa Tam, and it says Canada's top doctor. Like top doctor, like what does that mean? Like Seinfeld says, everyone says their guy is the best. And make sure you mention my name because he'll give you the real medicine. All the other people are getting Tic Tacs, but yeah, everyone's guy is the best. There can't be this many bests. And why is it Canada's top doctor? And look, man, Here's some anecdotal evidence of when I had to go to the hospital 6 times for a fucking knee injury. And 4 of the doctors told me different things. I had to see 6 different doctors, by the way. And 2 of the doctors agreed, and 4 of them said completely different things. And it just happened for me to be out of luck, I guess. Well, luck, I don't call having to go see 6 doctors for like a benign fucking injury. Work sent me. This was, 5 years ago back in the day. It's just more red tape and song and dance. And, it's not just because the 2 doctors agreed that I knew that they were right, but what they said made sense. It made sense. It described the symptoms perfectly, and they explained it to me in a way that made sense. And yes, I know people can be duped this way, but that's usually not the way people are duped. People are duped usually when someone tells them that something's magic and they fall for it and they say, oh, wow, okay, great. And yes, I trust my experience and my judgment, the 2 things that everyone is so adamant that you never trust. So they say trust authority's judgment, but whose authority? And if these 2 doctors that were actually right about, my tibial band being like slightly inflamed or whatever it was, then that's great. Then shouldn't all doctors have recognized that right away? How come the other first 4 that I saw, I didn't know if they were fucking coming or going? Like, one of them insisted that there was nothing wrong, and like it's so why wasn't there a fucking consensus? Why wasn't it a universal consensus? And it's like, Orange Man bad, you know, 2 legs bad. Napoleon is always right. So, if I blindly would have listened to any of them, or especially the first 4, I probably wouldn't have gone to the second or the third or the fourth one or the fifth or the sixth one. But the first one wanted to he told me there was nothing wrong with me. And the second one, like, he tried to convince me I had some fucking obscure fucking disease that like totally fucking didn't fucking make sense. And the third guy, he thought I was just trying to go there to dodge work to get like a doctor's note to not have to work. That's not even what happened. Fuck. I was working all throughout this. Like, so again, why didn't they all agree? And these aren't people that had a plan for world domination. Like, again, the first 4 guys, they were fucking morons. They just happened to have gone to med school somewhere. And again, like, shouldn't that be all the same everywhere? Like, you can't just say trust authority no matter what. You bring your car to the mechanic. Every mechanic is going to do the same procedure slightly differently, even if they follow the book. And most won't follow the book. Why not? How do they pass their exam? Isn't the exam the be all end all? Didn't they do the exam? Like, man, look, I did all that shit. I can tell you, man, there's a lot of people in trade school that fucking did the exam that have no business fucking passing. Here's another fucking brutal fucking thing in trade school, at least. If you don't pass the fucking exam, the teachers pass you anyway. And they'll make you retake it as many times as it takes for you to fucking pass it, even if it means them fucking literally standing over your shoulder to fucking make you pass it. Because, they don't want a high fail rate. Everyone has to pass. And it's state funded. So state funded, 100% success rate. Great. And not only that, did you know that there are no grades in trade school for anything? Even if the teachers grade your exam, like, you get no final grade, and your average or your performance, it's not documented anywhere. It's just pass or fail. And unless you drop out, everybody passes. Everyone passes. So again, that's another thing that really pisses me off. People say, oh, take a trade. It's such a cop-out. It's like saying buy Bitcoin. Okay, explain to me. I'm not saying it's bad, but just that, again, might as well just repeat Orange Man bad. What trade? Even if you Google the fucking top ones, fuck, the pay that they offer like a seasoned, like, first class fucking tradesman is garbage. It's fucking terrible, man. It's around $30 an hour. It's terrible. You could make way more money than that, like, doing anything on your own. Like, this is all. And the notion now that you should take a trade is not, this is what, again, everything pisses me off, but this is what pisses me off the most. It's not take a trade and learn the trade. It's take a trade and an employer will always be interested in you. You know, take a trade and you will always have a potential master. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? And I was stupid, right? Like a lot of fucking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed fucking youngsters that do this stuff. I stupidly thought, oh, I'm just gonna go to trade school and I'm gonna learn how to fucking do this shit and I'm gonna open my own place. But no, 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 no. That's not what trade school is about. Trade school is just about teaching you how to get your foot in the door to start at the bottom. And you don't even need trade school to do that. You can just fill out a fucking application. Hey, Chris, hello from New Jersey. What's up, man? How's it going? Just talking about how this video got taken down last night that I made. So again, yeah, just take a trade, any trade. Take a trade, any trade, you'll be fine no matter what. And it's kind of true because over here in Canada, if you take trades, the government pretty much immediately puts you on employment insurance. And you can take you're not supposed to, but you can take an unlimited amount of trades your entire life as long as you claim that you can't get a job in the trade that you just got. And there's a good chance you can't get a job in the trade that you just got because everyone's taking them and everyone's passing them. And the market is flooded with people that don't know how to do the trade that all have perfect fucking scores on all their fucking exams. So, like, no, it's not a guarantee. It's like if you give free college education to everybody and you tell everyone they have to go. And it doesn't mean that, someone that went to college stood out from the people that didn't. But it's been a really, really, really long time since that's what it meant. So yeah, if they just fucking hand fucking trade diplomas out, they become fucking worthless. And employers know this. Employers, a lot of them, they don't want someone that went to trade school because this guy thinks he knows everything, and a lot of the time he doesn't know shit. They want someone that's worked in the field, but it becomes fucking tricky because a lot of the places now, they're being forced to hire people that went to school. Otherwise the government will fucking shut them down. And the only way to circumvent these laws is if you stay small and under the radar. And I think that this is the best way to do it because I think if you're smart enough and there's nothing stopping you, you just have to adjust, adapt, and kind of overcome. But people are greedy and they start fighting the good fight, and then they get faced with a bunch of red tape and bureaucracy and regulations, and they think, oh, this is too hard. I'd rather just fucking bend the knee and kiss the ring. And that's why you're told, yeah, man, don't tell me what you know. Show me. Show me. Prove to me why I should listen to you. And that is going up on the screen. So I don't get it, Well, I mean, I kind of get it, but this is people, and I didn't know, like I was like this too. When I went to trade school like almost 10 years ago, I bought into it too. I thought people would be lining up to offer me a job after. And I have exam anxiety. No, not so much now, but I really did then. I did all throughout high school and college and shit like that too. And in trade school, in mine anyway, I had an exam every week. Sometimes I had 2 a week. And I can't like mentally rest knowing that I have an exam in a couple of days, even if it's just an exam, and I would psych myself up to like fucking fever, thinking I could fail the exam. And there was one guy who was in the other class and he failed almost every exam because he fucking panicked. And he had a record in the class of failing the most exams, like on first try. But the teacher's always like, and he retook it and passed. And if he retook it and failed because he still panicked, the teachers would like help him retake it. That's just the fucking way it works. But I was talking to him one day before class, and I said, that would fucking kill me, man. It would make me so nervous, especially if I failed one, like knowing that it could happen. And he says, yeah, but I don't give a shit about that. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, I don't give a shit about my record here. And I'm not doing this to get a diploma or anything like that. He said, I'm just doing this to learn how to fix cars. That's it. And I thought, well, that's fucking amazing. I wish I could fucking think like that. And I couldn't back then. It was really hard for me to do that. And I came from being a kind of a self-starter, self-taught. up until that point, but I followed the regular kind of narrative that people tell you. Is it like self-taught is for dummies? And if you learn by yourself, you can only get so good. You'll always be Bush League. And if you want to get really good, you should take a class. Like, well, what kind of class? Well, any class. Any class. Just someone who's a teacher is better than you. And again, so why don't all teachers agree? And I learned this too. Or you know, I was shown this, I guess, when I used to do fucking martial arts, and I was looking for a Muay Thai gym in Montreal, and there weren't many at the time. There was pretty much one authentic one, and like the guy was a fucking asshole. And I stuck it out for a while, but everyone left. Everyone left because the guy was a fucking dick and nobody liked him. And he was late all the time and shit. Like, that's a real thing. It's not that he was like hard on people. Like, he was, but he was pointlessly hard. And the workouts were not hard. It's just the rest. Having the guy fucking show up late and cancel class last minute. And like, I traveled for like an hour and a half to like, no, that's not true. I would leave 3 hours early, and it was a half-hour drive, but I would leave 3 hours before the class to avoid traffic. And I would go run up the mountain, and then I would fucking like chill and like have a coffee, and I was always the first one there. And you know, just to get there on time, because I don't want to drive there during rush hour and then have to look for a parking spot for an hour and then get there late like a fucking dipshit and like not start properly. I wanted to like be at my best, right? And this fucker, he runs a fucking gym. We're all paying a lot of money to fucking train there. It's not like in Thailand where you pay like $4 a week or $4 a day and you get to sleep on the floor and train by a pro. This place, man, like we paid hundreds of dollars every month for a guy to not fucking show up on time. So it's like, yeah, fuck you. So again, why don't, hey, CL, what's up, man? Man with no name in the house. So again, why don't all the trainers say the same thing? You know, why aren't all fighters the same then? If like that authority bias is true. If that were true, then every time anyone fought, like it would come to a complete standstill because he's a fighter, he's a fighter. So, you know, everyone's equal except for you. And we know if you have a brain, there are tons of other variables that go into it. Like, yes, obviously, like being a fighter is fucking necessary, but you know, like how tall is he? How much does he weigh? How good is he? Good. How good is he? You know, what's his record of people of fighting against opponents of similar size, bigger, smaller? You know, what are his habits outside? You know, there are tons of variables. So you can't just say like, you know, listen to Canada's top doctor. Who the fuck made you Canada's top doctor? And that's like a contradictory fucking notion. It's like the State Science Institute. It's like the state hospital. It's like that those two things, they should not be in the same sentence. Like the government does not regulate anything properly. All they do is try to distribute and redistribute the fucking wealth from the people that work to the people that don't. And that's what all of this is for right now. And it's very frustrating because all we were doing was talking about it. But because they saw 5G in the chat, I'm sure, they disabled the chat in my video and they made the video unwatchable. I mean, the only way to watch it is if I send someone the link. They would have to watch the shitty version of it. So it's, you know, it's kind of frustrating because not only are many of our rights taken away, we're not even, you know, most of us are not allowed to work unless you lucked out being fucking unskilled labor enough to kiss the ring of either working for a government or again doing some dead end job at a big, huge fucking seemingly too big to fail fucking company. And you know, these guys right now, they're fucking laughing at the rest of us that all got fucking canned. Some fucking idiot sent me an email, not even my friend, by the way. Some fucking idiot sent me an email because I'm not on Facebook. And he was looking me up on Facebook and he Googled me and he found me on YouTube. And he would leave comments on my YouTube videos, but not about the video. He'd leave comments on my YouTube videos about shit that was happening on Facebook. Like, oh, did you hear what so and so said to so and so? Oh, how come you blocked me? It's like, dude, man, I'm not on Facebook. YouTube is not, it's not Facebook for me. It's not like a way for me to like keep track of people I know. It's because I don't give a shit about any of the people I know. Like, they're fucking trash, man. Like, with very fucking few exceptions, and one of them, like, well, two of them live in this fucking house with me, and they're probably maybe like, fewer than 5 people like that in my entire life that I'd actually care if they fucking died. Fuck. You know? So, yes, Chris Cruz, do you think a depression's coming? It should come. Yep, it should come. Um, I'm kind of hoping it does, fuck. Because the whole point of this, see what they're saying is that if you let us regulate things properly, then not only like will this, fade out, but we're going to come back better than ever and there's going to be no uncomfortable period ever. How could that be true? Just how could it be true even if you don't know anything? Even if you were born yesterday, how could that be true? How could you not question that statement? So it's like when people say, well, again, towing the line for authority. Listen to the government no matter what. The government, Canada's Minister of Propaganda, has been flip-flopping on coronavirus ever since, they pretended to discover it for the first time like a couple of months ago. So listen to it when? Like I have to listen to it every day to tell me to do the opposite of what you told me to do yesterday. Like, can't I just make up my own mind? And the answer is no, you can't. Well, you can, but we're going to try to kill you for doing that. And if we can't kill you, we're going to try to make it look like you died a horrible death because you didn't fucking listen to us. And that really pisses me off too, because like, we know that it's bad. Well, we know on this channel, we know that it's bad to prop up a failed business or a failed person because you're just enabling them. You're literally rewarding bad behavior. You're literally flushing your money down the toilet. Now, if you want, you can try, but history is not with you on this one. Like if you have a friend that's a druggie and you think like lending him money or giving him money is going to like solve his fucking problems. Fuck. Nope. People like they need tough love or none at all. Like, adapt or die. And, the problem is wanting to save a fucking druggie who's not willing to save himself. So that's the whole fucking problem. And, we were talking about that yesterday. Fuck, man, I was just about to make a point that I thought was pretty relevant. Oh, yeah, with the alcohol. Okay. All this stuff now, it's not for us. Okay. This is fucking farm life, guys. Yo, CL, what do you think of this, man? Look, we're forbidden from interacting with each other, like socially. We have very limited access to food. We're not allowed to work, so we're not allowed to earn money. We're only allowed to trade certain goods, so we're not allowed to price gouge. We're not allowed to sell things that people need. We're not allowed to sell toilet paper. We're not allowed to sell water. We're not allowed to sell hand sanitizer. We have to stay home. The only way we can communicate with each other is online, but online we're not even allowed to say certain things. But we can still get alcohol and at least like we have a roof over our head, because the government that physically stopped us from working is the same government that's going to physically, make our payments and all benevolence. Like, how is this? Does this sound like a farm to you? Because it sounds like a fucking farm to me. And I don't want to live on this fucking farm. And another reason too, maybe they hid the video yesterday, maybe it's still processing now, is because we were talking yesterday about, how quote unquote long this is going to last. And I don't know how long the government plans on making it last, but I know that how long it lasts for you and me is how long we choose to accept it for. And that's what this thing has been also. It's been giant test to see how far they can push the populace and what sort of pushback they're going to receive. And so far, there's been absolutely zero pushback for having the majority of our rights stripped away. So, how much pushback do you think there's going to be when whatever little we have left is taken and then sold back to us at a price that, like, we're going to be applauding them for? you know? And you're supposed to get down on your knees and thank the government for printing more money because they stopped you from working so that they can still, quote unquote, like help you make your payments that you can no longer make, because they forbade you from working. Like, look, man, it's idiotic. Not to mention, if you've read anything about Agenda 21, or if you've watched Event 201, that's the artificial simulation of what would happen if there was a viral outbreak and they took a random virus. In this case, it just happened to be coronavirus. And, just coincidentally, and they realized that with all the top experts like the WHO and the United Nations, that they were not prepared to handle it at all. And I was watching this and I kept thinking, I don't know, man. Look it up. Look up Event 21 and watch it. And tell me if these world leaders, if you think they're actually world leaders or if they're actors. Because I think they have to be actors. Because there's no way that, like, the quote unquote world leaders are that stupid. And it's all people that have no business, making those decisions. Most of them are banksters. And notice also that, very few people seemingly are critical. Yeah, they are actors, eh? So why run a simulation with actors? What's the point? Like, isn't it just a movie then? And anyway, in the movie they were ill prepared. And okay, unleash it onto the real world. Let's at least just stop the economy first. And then we're gonna choose which industries are gonna, are gonna be considered essential. Okay, government, essential. And so construction supposedly is going to resume here in Quebec, but not all construction, just like major construction. It's like, yeah, no shit. And it, for a new world order, no, it's okay. For a new world order that, like, preaches that we're all equal and they're so hell bent on redistributing any sort of fucking wealth and putting down any disparity in wealth down to, like, racism or whatnot. If we're all supposed to be so equal, like, there are a lot of leaders. Like, doesn't that kind of go against the whole fucking concept? Ah, okay, because without these leaders, I could never survive. And I'm too stupid. Ah, now I understand. But if I kiss the ring, you give me a house, you give me food, you give me a place to shit, you even give me a job. Because I'm, let's face it, I'm so stupid, I'm fucking unemployable. That's all I do. I just complain about why I don't want to work. So, if the government took care of this for me, then life would be amazing. And, that's what they're promising now. That's really good. I never want to worry again. Just like I'm being sarcastic, obviously. It's like in Office Space when, the main guy says, could you imagine if we were still doing this when we were 50? And the Indian guy says it would be nice to have that kind of job security. Or the other one with the two women waiting in the bread line in Russia. And one of them says, can you believe that we have to wait 3 hours to get a loaf of bread? And the other lady says, yeah, but it's even worse in the capitalist countries where they don't even give out free bread in line, where you actually have to work for your bread. I have no problem working for my bread. I love it. I love the free market, unregulated free market. I like the barter system too. I think that once again, if you don't have it, if you can't hold it, you don't have it. And I know that a lot of people are going to get triggered by this, maybe not necessarily people watching this right now, but, they're trying to circumvent the fucking system or trying to game the system without and trying to get something for nothing. And they're the ones that paid into this, even if you're not at the top. Like it's a giant fucking Ponzi scheme. If you've trusted this instead of yourself to actually produce goods and services that would enable you, that you could exchange them for things that you need in order to create a better life for yourself. If you haven't done any of that, then you're fucking stupid. You're dishonest. Unless you're honestly able to fucking admit that, yeah, I'm so fucking stupid. I can't do anything. The only shot I have is like, working for someone else is going to provide everything for me because I'm a fucking idiot. But how many people do you know that fucking say this? Nobody. They all work for big, big, big places, too big to fail because they're smarter than you and they're better than you. And you know how many people tell me that they could never go with the uncertainty of like not knowing if you're going to get paid every week? It's like, yeah, that's the best part about working for yourself because nothing's fucking handed to you. And anything you get, you have to fucking earn it. And it's the best. And you get into a groove and you realize that basically the more you work, the more you fucking earn. It's not like at a fucking company job. Work hard, work not hard, take sick days. Doesn't matter. You have to take your sick days, even if you're not sick, because they deduct them off your pay anyway. It's like, my parents did the same job for like 35 years, probably more. They say it's like, the job that they loved like more than anything else. My dad never stayed late like a single time. Never worked extra. Never like went in on the weekend or anything like that. Nothing like that. Like, they loved it because they gave them 2 months off in the summer. I know I mentioned this before, and it wasn't easy to get them to admit this. Like I got yelled at a lot, but that's how I was brought up too. I was brought up. I've always been very good at arguing, but I was brought up in such a way that when the other person gets mad, that you have to stop, because you're wrong. That's how I was brought up at home. That's how I was brought up at school. That's how I was brought up at work. Obey my masters. I'm not trying to troll them. I have legitimate fucking questions. If you're mad about the questions that I ask because you can't answer it, and you throw your arms up and you get mad and you tell me no more questions, well, doesn't that say that you shouldn't be in charge? And again, I've asked this to my parents, my teachers, my bosses, my friends, ever since I was a kid, and hold their fucking composure. They can't get you. It's like in a fight, okay, like if you can't fight, you don't want to get the guy mad because like you're throwing gasoline onto the fire. But if you know what you're doing, that's the whole fucking point, man. The whole point is to trigger a fucking uncontrolled attack from your opponent and get him to fucking rage out and fuck up. Doesn't matter like what you have to do to get him there. But that's it, you get him to see red. But if you have no training, then like good luck to you. But if you know a little bit, like that's the fucking variable you try to manipulate. Because if both guys are trained, then the movements become very not easy to predict. But again, the fight is fought at a fucking higher level. And, it's kind of like cards, but, with more of a physical consequence, a lot more of a physical consequence. So, yeah, Chris Cruz, they're sheep. Yeah, it's true, man. It is. And it's sad. And you're encouraged, we're all encouraged to be a sheep. And that we should be lucky, even that, a farm is willing to fucking buy us. And I'm saying you don't need to go through with any of that shit. The only reason you would have to is if you choose to subject yourself to it. And why would you? And I think that right now, yeah, so what I was going to say is that, we're not above the bartering system. The bartering system is like what needs to happen now. Well, that's how you're only, look, that's the only way you're going to be able to get something, different from, what your peers have. All the stores are closed except for very few essential services. The government is giving people fucking salaries now. The government is taking care of everything. Government decides what's open. Government decides who can go outside and, who can talk to who, which is essentially no one. And again, like, is this the type of life that you want for yourself? Is this a dream or a nightmare? To me, it's a fucking nightmare. And it hasn't even started yet. They're just setting the stage for what's going to happen. Like, whatever happens is going to be fucking bad. Oh, yeah, we talked about the Bill Gates fucking pay pass yesterday. And if you guys haven't watched, oh, yeah, He Who Must Not Be Named, David Icke, if you haven't watched the London Real interview with him, watch it on London Real. You have to subscribe, but you just put your email address. That's all you do. And it's worth it. Watch it. It's very scientific. And he calls everything. And another thing we talked about last night is people ignoring history and avoiding history. And that's why they're repeating it. And it's outright ignoring it. And you don't even have to study history. Watch fucking movies, man. This is in like this type of thing is in so many movies. This is my favorite book, Atlas Shrugged. This is all what it's about, fuck. That's why it's no surprise like why any of this is fucking happening. Now, what's gonna happen next? It's pretty much anyone's guess, but like I said a couple of times, I don't think it's what should happen. What should happen when you shut things down is that, like, the economy collapses and it fucking restarts. You can't keep propping up the housing market. And that's pretty much like what this is for. It's not just to prop up the housing market, it's to keep inflating the giant bubble in the economy. The housing market is usually the best way to do this, or, their go-to way, because, they claim that the housing market is indicative of how the actual economy is. So, for instance, instead of, when the boomers get old and die or move out of their homes, homes should be fucking cheaper because there's an abundance of them and they're not going to sell all of them. So they have to kind of like give it away, at a price that kind of forces people to buy it. But they don't want to do this because, again, the bubble just has to get bigger. The banksters have to make more and more and more and more. Privatized fucking gains, but socialized fucking debt. And the rest of us pay for everything else. And just so the market can be regulated and can never fluctuate. And you know what the results of this are? Like the market not being able to fluctuate. Well, one of them is that like most millennials will be renting until they die. And I don't mean the lazy ones that don't work. I mean like the best of the best. 90% of them, like they're never going to fucking own a fucking house. And if they do, they don't fucking own it. Having a mortgage on a house is not owning it. We're in a fucking debt-based fucking economy right now. We're not encouraged to spend less than we earn. We're encouraged to fucking get it on credit before you have anywhere near the amount of money to afford it. Because that would mean that, if someone lived in $1 million house and drove a Ferrari and had a bunch of other nice shit, it would mean that they would have to physically have that much money first and then some. And that's how it should be. But again, yeah, trying to game the system, trying to do it without having to do it, without having to go through the proper steps. You can just skip what you think is uncomfortable and ride straight to the top. And there won't be any consequences, not for you, not for anybody else. So, when the boomers die or when they start moving out of their houses and stuff like that, which is what's been happening for a little while, even though they're greedy, God's chosen generation. So they're holding on pretty hard and pretty long. But instead of letting the prices go down, that's kind of what led up to the great fucking crash of 2008, 2009. And that's where they came in with those bullshit subprime fucking loans that they basically forced on people that were poor, fucking stupid, or foreign. And just so the housing market could be propped up and, a certain few, the people regulating the market basically could make a fucking bundle off it. But luckily, it blew up in their faces when the market got shorted, but there was still a giant bailout again for the banks back then. And the dollar has been inflating ever since, so fucking 12 years since then. And that's another thing that worries me about this because, it might not happen, might not reset itself overnight, it might, they might double down again because that's all this is. This is just a bluff. On Wall Street, stock market's rising at an unprecedented rate because people have faith in the new dollar and people have faith in the government to fix everything. It's great. Yeah. So you're not a lesser man if you have to barter. Like, I think you're saving yourself a lot of misfortune if you have enough foresight to see that currency as we know it is finished right now. Whatever your currency is at, whatever country you're in right now, don't expect it to stay that way. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go all around. And I'm not saying that the dollar is worth something, but right now, actual cash, I think it's of vital fucking importance that we fight as much as we can to keep cash at least in circulation. Because once they get rid of that, it's fucked. It's over. We've completely subjected ourselves to that rule. And those of us that don't want to, and those of us that don't want to get the mandatory vaccine / tracking chip / bank account / 5G fucking nanite fucking receptors, those of us that don't want to do that, we're going to have to resort to the barter system. And yes, that's going to make it very hard for us to do certain fucking things. But most of those things I can go without. I figured out how to do most things already in advance now, without having to do, anything crazy really. But one of the last things that I can't figure out, but I sort of can, but not really. The main thing that worries me is how to fucking legally drive. But if I have enough land and eventually, if people join like-minded individuals, this is up to them. It's not up to me. But arguably the only driving I would have to do is around my fucking land. The only reason I don't ever want to have to integrate into society. Like now, this is as deep as I'm comfortable getting. And I'm not comfortable at all. I prided myself on being able to think outside the box, and start a business and, run it like, on the black market for a while I'm growing. And just as I kind of get my foot in the door of like the yellow pages in Google and everything like that, pretty much like all that shit fucking shuts down and I have to go back to the fucking black market. And, I'll find a way to make it work. And it's not that bad for me because at least I'm used to it. At least I'm used to thinking this way. But at the same time, like I'm assuming that there is a market there and that it's the same, but it's not the same. And that's another thing that fucking scares me too, because it's people have no money now. It was hard enough when people had money, before this fucking shit happened. Running a business is a hustle, but now, I mean, yeah, it's still a hustle, but the hurdle is like fucking 10 times as high because again, people have no money and people are afraid. They're afraid of getting sick, even if you keep your distance, and they're afraid of getting in trouble, even if you're an essential service. And, you know, a lot of variables. These aren't excuses, though, for me not to do it. This is just the way things are. And it it kind of teaches someone that, planning is of utmost importance. And, you know, it, having said that, planning can only get me so far. Like, I can have the best business plan in the fucking world right now, and I can change it every day or change a part of it every day based on the scientific method and do tests and see which one works or which version of it works. I could do that, like, all I want. But if the market is just not there, if the demand isn't there, it's just not there. So there's only so much I can control. And that's the fucking hard part. So having said all that, one thing that, like, I'm probably going to do and that you guys all can do is that you don't have to work for money. Now you can. I recommend this. I recommend, like, working for cash and marketing yourself as one of the few people that will still accept cash. Yeah, boycott places that don't accept cash. Fuck you, man. You're paying into this. You kiss the ring, motherfucker. They'll say no. No, they'll shut me down. So fucking shut down. Everyone else is shut down. Like, why can't you shut down too then? Yeah, boycott this. I don't believe in it. I don't accept it. Like, so fuck that. And yeah, like, same thing with the banks. Yeah, withdraw all your money from the bank. It's not going to help you. And why would you keep it in there? Because you think that you're going to get something for nothing in the long run or in the short run. What you need your bank account to get the bailout, to cash the bailout check. Really, really fucking noble of you. So, or your job for your company that's too big to fail pays you via direct deposit. So you need your bank account, and you can't get another job. You can't. There are no other jobs. You're so important that you can only work at that place because you're such a genius. But yeah, it's my advice on it. Like, yeah, don't pay into it. Don't pay into a system you don't like. Now, will me not having a bank account crash the banks? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Will everyone withdrawing their money crash them? Yes. Will 10% of people withdrawing their money crash the banks? Absolutely. Yeah. 5% will probably do it. Now they're not even required to keep any money on hand. It's fucking fractional reserve is 0. And quantitative easing is infinity. Bravo, man. Perfect fucking combination. So yeah, keep putting your faith in all that. But for the meantime, if you want to get something that Big Brother is not providing for you, you're going to have to trade something for it. So, like I was saying yesterday, and a few people in chats earlier suggested this, but you can offer to work for gold or silver. You can offer to work for jewelry, gold or silver, because people probably aren't going to be paying you in gold bars, and short of that, you can work for goods and services. Now, I know if you work at a too big to fail place, you don't have this option. You can't negotiate your salary. You can't negotiate your form of payment. You can't negotiate your hours. You can't negotiate anything. Your schedule, like, well, I know I just said hours. You can't negotiate anything because you're so smart. Because that's the price of being a genius. You can't negotiate anything, but the genius gets unlimited, infinite security if he kisses the ring. And that's what it's like to be a genius, right? I wouldn't know. Thank God I'm fucking retarded. So, yep, that's pretty much where we are right now. I was reading a comment and I got sidetracked. I forgot what I was going to say. Doesn't really matter though, because it's pretty much here. And I want to make these videos because, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn from you guys how you guys are still keeping on. And, if I discover any tricks along the way, I can't help but fucking, talk about it. Even this stream right now, it's a test to see if it's going to get taken down again. And like I said yesterday, we were talking about 5G and a bunch of other stuff. Lord Voldemort, Bill Gates, and David Icke, the real he who must not be named, because he'll get you fucking banned. Oh yeah, David Icke. If anyone's wondering who he is, all you have to know is lizard people. That's it. Lizard people. Anything he says that makes sense, you know it's wrong because lizard people. And if David Icke tells you that 2 plus 2 is 4, or that we breathe air, it's wrong. Lizard people. Okay, that's it. Right? So, and yeah, like, and he predicted all this shit 30 fucking years ago. And people laughed at him then. They're still laughing now because they're fucking stupid. Fuck. Yo, Chris, Chris works for a national cable company as a cable guy. Are you still working right now? Feels bad, man. A boy named Gilroy, have you ever seen a film called The Rover? Kind of hoping things will turn out like that. No, I've not seen it. What's it about? Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, YouTube did. I want to buy some land and grow all my own food. That's the plan, and this is a plan that everyone should have. Oh, so you're working every day, eh? Oh my God, fuck! I touch people's remotes every day. And back to the farm animal analogy, dude. I'm not shitting on your profession. I think that any service could be considered essential. It depends like how you do it, and it depends on how you market yourself. But I disagree that the way the government has kind of decided like what's what. It's like again with the alcohol. People think it's a compassionate move on their part. It's not that. It's just to keep your fucking livestock sedated so they don't fucking revolt against their fucking masters and so they don't notice the cage. The bars are too blurry. And as far as cable and internet and stuff like that, like yeah, I mean it's useful right now, but is it really essential? Like really? Especially I would say it is if they didn't censor a lot of shit. And if it really was a means for you to work and to communicate, but you can't even work at capacity. Google my business, which is like the fucking number one way to fucking advertise or market your business. That's down. Like, you can still make posts, but that too, it's fucking censored to shit right now, and your posts get delayed. If you make posts telling people that you're working, it can take up to 10 days for them to fucking come up, even though it tells you to fucking tell your customers about your policies during coronavirus. And this is not a conspiracy. This is like common fucking knowledge that they'll fucking tell you about. You can't do any of it. So, like, I agree. Like, yeah, that's why the market should regulate itself. Like, don't close anything down. And the people that like choose to stay open, like, they'll fucking stay open. And if everyone gets sick as a result of that, the people that fucking get sick, they have to quarantine themselves or they have to do whatever it takes them to get better. And if that means them not showing up to work, and if everyone at a certain place gets sick because, they're too much in contact with people, or, if no one's hiring said service that's open because, they don't have money for that right now because they're worried about other stuff, then these businesses fucking shut down naturally and those guys have to do other things. This whole thing right now is just to make sure that nothing stays undisturbed. Now, like Chris, if I were you, let's say okay, not if I were you, but let's say if I were if somehow, I guess people do it, but if I were like a private company, a private cable company, what I would argue right now is that my service is essential because, through me people fucking communicate. You know, phone, fucking internet, like news, we're talking life and death. But it's primarily for fucking entertainment purposes. And it's kind of, I don't know, I feel it's to sedate the population. And I think in that, people, especially since you're censored, how many people are using the internet right now to like talk to loved ones about the discussion that we're having right now versus the amount of people on the internet right now checking people's statuses on Facebook and people posting stupid fucking selfies about just how to pass the time. You know, how much like, most of it is fucking entertainment related. And most even look, Best Buy is an essential service. Like I understand the cable and internet, but like Best Buy really? Like why? Again, like if if this were my business or if Netflix were my business, like I would try to convince people that it were essential, especially in times of crisis. I would say, you need to fucking keep a level head and, laugh a little bit or like whatever, get your mind off shit. So it's essential. But again, having a universal decree, explaining what all this stuff is, I don't agree with it. Yeah, good on you. So it's very subjective, and it should be subjective. Because, dude, if there was poison gas outside, poison gas, let's say, like choking to death gas, and everything was closed, and you couldn't go to the grocery store, or you could go out like for limited exposure, but you had to like suit the fuck up. Like all you could do basically is barter with your neighbors and find a way to produce, what needed to be produced. This is how you're going to find out what essential services are. So, like I said, man, I wasn't fucking shitting on your profession, Chris, before anything like that. This is how I think, the true market like should dictate itself. And like that's what, I can't tell you what an essential service is right now because we're never going to fucking know. It's always going to be decided for us. The only way to know is to go somewhere where nothing is regulated and it's basically the fucking law of the jungle. And I'm fucking fine in doing that. But most people aren't. But that's the beauty of it because most people aren't going to want to go where nothing is taken care of for them and where there's not the illusion and the eternal promise of security for your entire life. All just at the small price of bending the knee and kissing Big Brother's ring. And Big Brother is never wrong. He's right about everything. That's all you need to know. Just listen to your government all the time about everything because they're always right. And they never make mistakes. Even when they change their mind every single day, they're not wrong. And they have your best interest in mind and nothing else. They exist just to serve you. That's why there are so many of them. And their job is so hard. That's why they can never do it properly. So, yeah, always trust Big Brother. Chris Cruz, just a paycheck to me. I'm working on multiple side hustles. That's good. That's smart, man. That's awesome. Yeah, because don't think it can't happen to you. That like you get downsized or whatever. But not that you're like that. You just said you'd be the first essential service to go, you think. But no, I mean, look, you can do whatever you want, man. Like as long as you don't fucking lie to yourself and as long as you don't lie to me. Because it gets fucking old fast. Like, have you ever had a conversation where, like, someone asks you what you do, and you're like, "Oh, I do this," and then you ask them what they do, and they tell you, and like, your job is like cooler than theirs, but right away they just start to shit on you. It's like, oh, the reason I don't do that, like, the reason I don't climb trees like 60 feet high is because, you know, uh, my brain is too valuable, and if I get hurt, like I can't fucking serve the world properly. It's like, dude, man, you don't need to say anything. You don't need to compare our two jobs. Like my wish, honestly, is that you do the job that you want to do and that you love to do it on your own terms. That's my wish. And I wish this on everybody because this is the type of person I would hire to do a said job for me. I wouldn't hire just someone that like I have to hire because he's certified or like my authority bias or whatever. Like all that stuff is of vital importance. I don't want someone that just shows up. Like, it's this is everything. And this is the beauty of a free market. And in a truly free market, it's people like this that fucking run it because anything less just doesn't fucking hold up. And yeah, there might be the guy that undercuts and that does like a shittier job. And there might be the guy that charges more and does a better job. And then there's a guy in the middle, and the customer gets to choose. And the guy that's shitty, he's allowed to get better also. And oh, dude, man. I finished college last year and I'm working. I'm 23 and feel worried about how much money need to save to buy a house. Dude, why do you want to buy a house, man? And where do you want to buy a house? Now, I'm not saying that, oh, you should pay rent instead. Far from it. I'm just wondering because that's a fucking slippery slope to go down. And once you get a mortgage, it's like you're fucked, man. Like get ready to stay there for a long time. You know, the beauty of working for yourself, no matter what you do, is that you go where the market dictates. You start a business and you're going to go where the demand is. You don't know where the demand is at first. If there's demand in your town, great. If there's no demand in your town, then you have to go to the next town and see if there's demand there and the next town after that. But you're willing to go wherever the demand is. You don't say things like, well, there's no demand here, and I love doing what I do. And even though there's a big demand for my business in the next town, I'm from here. Or like, I'm too attached here. I could never travel 15 minutes. I could never move. I don't want to move. And it's like, dude, like you have to make the choice. And if you really love what you do, then it's a very easy choice because every choice you make, it's all in. And it's just towards one direction, the direction of your goal. So that's what I would suggest to you, even though you didn't really ask, but don't worry about that shit, man. You're living with your parents now. Like right now, it's probably the safest place to be. But think to yourself why you want that house and where you want that house. And the job that you trained to do last year. Do you plan on doing that job? And if so, is it going to be worth, investing so much in a property that might not be, like the house of your dreams? And that's something you need to think about also, not just you, but like everybody. What is the house of your dreams? And like most people, like they think of this fucking huge fucking mansion or whatever, and it's not really what they want. It's just what they think society is telling them that they have to fucking want. And what's the fucking point? Hey, Beastmaster, what's up, man? Wise words, Chris. Save, save, save. So, if you really want the mansion and if you want 12 cars and like a giant TV in every room, or like, in the middle of downtown with like a high rise view of like the city and like, fine. But I think people that say they want that, Like unless you're from like the hood, fuck, like and really like that's what you dreamed of a kid because all the shit that you never had, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum. Like I think it's legitimate, but I think for the most part, man, if you say you want that, usually it's just because you have no imagination. And you're probably your dream in real life, whatever it might be. But I would stake my life on the wager that your dream is a lot simpler than the dream society tells you you're supposed to have. I think probably most of the guys here, they just want to do their thing and not be bothered, whatever that may be. And I'm not saying disappear and be a ghost, but I'm saying have the option to be a ghost if you want to. But it's cool also to be able to step into the spotlight when you feel like it also. But the way things are going now, I think that it's going to be kind of one or the other. And I don't think there's going to be a middle ground. Yeah, Lyra Miguel wanted to build a family in the future, but today it seems to be a big mistake like divorce rape. I'm with you on that one. Any of you guys in the chat have kids? I never wanted kids, by the way. Like, I don't think I'm going to have them. Pretty fucking positive fuck. Like, I still don't. But if I did, I would raise them like I raised my dog and not put them in school and not put a leash on them or a collar. And they would follow me around everywhere and they would learn my job. And they'd start by bringing me tools and opening my backpack for me and stuff like that. And then through observation and practice and repetition, they would learn to do what I do. That's sweet, man. I have a ranch. It's tough. Yeah, I bet. But no, I never wanted kids. And I don't think everyone should have kids. Like Stefan Molyneux, that's his advice to everybody. Male or female. Yeah, just go fucking have kids. Go have kids and experience the joy of fucking parenthood and pay forward your gift of life. Nope. It's not how it works, man. Some people should not have kids. That's assuming everybody's the same. Assume everybody's the same, and yeah, everyone should do the same thing. And everyone should be completely self sufficient in every way. Everyone would be an island and a country. Look, I'm all for individuality, but don't dictate that I have to do the fucking same thing as everybody else. And it takes different types of people to build a functional society. And another good point, it's like a contradictory point that he makes too. But a lot of the great women in society were and are childless. There aren't very many, but a lot of them. So again, if they had kids, they wouldn't have been able to do what they did. But not to say that, if you're a woman, just don't have kids and focus on a career and you're going to be successful no matter what you do. No, but probably a lot of the great men don't have fucking kids or didn't have kids before they achieved success. You can't you can't train fucking 20 hours a day if you have like 5 kids to fucking take care of. You can't be 100% like on your purpose, like undivided attention if you have to divide your attention up all fucking day. Like it takes a fucking toll on you. And that's just like at the onset. It's like a huge fucking ripple effect. How old are your kids, Beastmaster? I don't know what you meant, Mike, but it's funny to me. Nope. So everyone learn from Mike. So I think honestly, I mean, imagine if there really were, let's say, poison gas outside, you couldn't go outside. except for very limited times. And you have to trade with your neighbors. All non-essential businesses would close, only essential businesses would open. And it would be up to you to convince your neighbor that he needs what you have, whatever it is that you have, in order for you to get what you need that he has. And see, like this is my world. This is the world that I want to live in. And it's possible. You know, I do live in it for myself. And occasionally, you cross paths, hopefully business wise, with another like minded individual. And the exchanges that you make, um, they're a lot better with someone that understands this, because you can actually come away with something cool. It's like people that say, okay, it's like people that say, I want to become like a plumber. And you say, why do you want to become a plumber? And they say, oh, because after 5 years, you're guaranteed to get like $75,000 a year. It's like, okay, you're a fucking idiot for wanting to do something because of that. And you're an idiot for assuming that like it's going to be that simple. Also, you're an idiot for thinking that that's a lot of money, because it's not. It's not. It's like such a small rotten carrot that they dangle in front of you to like take a trade. And oh yeah, and what I was going to say before, a lot of people, they just take endless trades. A lot of foreigners do it here. They take endless trades without ever having to work, and they collect employment insurance the entire time. And all those foreigners too here that are taking endless trades, they're also eligible for this fucking $2,000 a month entrepreneurial benefit, and they don't even have to apply for it. They get it automatically. So like the economy is fucked, man. It's fucked. So my whole point before was that, or that I was trying to make, is that, if you're doing things properly, and if you are in fact fighting the good fight, then you can set your own price. And I've had conversations, I've tried to fucking snap people out of it with people that like their job, or they say they like their job, and they do it for a company, and I tell them they should do it for themselves. And they say, yeah, but I can't make money for myself. And I said, that's the only way you can make money. And I say, you can make, the sky is the limit. And they say, well, no, because, the regulated price for like this type of work is like no more than like, you can only charge this much an hour. It's like, dude, you're wrong. That's at your old job. Like right now, what you have to understand, and I'm speaking to you guys that are wondering, or that are thinking, this guy's a fucking idiot. I got to go apply somewhere. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for the right ring to kiss, because that's all you're fucking looking for. You're looking for the right ring to kiss. And if you went to school, or if you spent money, like I hate to tell you, man, but it was all to fucking, yeah, $2,000 a month, man. Yep. $2,000 a month. It was all to fucking look for the right ring to kiss. That's it. So the thing is, like regulated price and red tape and like bureaucracy and stuff, like you're going to encounter like a little bit of it working on your own, but there are no rules, man. You make the rules. It is up to you to convince the customer to pay your price. Even if there is supposedly like a fucking cartel that fucking regulates the price, because that's what it is. That's who fucking regulates prices. It's a fucking cartel. It's not like and yeah, it's illegal to do it privately, supposedly, but the government does it all the time. It does it all the time. So you should 100%, like whatever career you're trying, whatever field you're trying to get a job in, I would suggest that you just do that on your own. And if it's not something that you can do on your own, then why do you want to get a job in that field? And why can't you do it on your own? Again, and you don't have to convince me, you have to convince yourself. And it's going to end in the revelation that you probably don't really want to do that. So why the fuck are you doing it? Think of something you can do. Think of something you want to do. Start with that. Not something that you should do or that will be good for you. Again, don't bite the bullet and kiss the ring. and delude yourself into thinking that like that's what a smart person does. That's a pragmatic choice, fuck. And it's not. You're copping out right now. Oh, dude. Uh these 2 grand a month people have at least 4 kids and practice a religion apiece like the others that do in the UK. They will most likely get even more than 2 grand a month. But dude, it's crazy. They just force this on everybody. I mentioned in a stream the other day, the one that I fucking took down because it was too long and not edited. I know a guy that's an actor, supposedly, who's never like acted in a single thing that's getting the $2,000 a month entrepreneur benefit fuck for small and medium businesses. Never fucking had an acting job. He cleaned windows last year for himself for 3 days, but then he decided that it was beneath him and that he was an actor. And he considered himself an actor because he took a 6 month government fucking course that paid for his EI while he learned how to act in 6 months. And he pays fees stupidly to the fucking actors union in Canada every year. And he sits on his ass and doesn't do fuck all, and he's 35 and he doesn't work. And this guy is getting the fucking benefit too. Yeah, it's a fucking handout. And he's probably on other forms of social assistance. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And it sucks because, I say it's to bail out the banks, and it is. But the real fucking like scumbags here that are already collecting like as many forms of government benefits as possible. These guys don't even have to apply for it. If you're already receiving government benefits, unless I believe you're on welfare, then you have another type of relief that automatically you get. But you automatically get this, and this is bullshit, man. Like it's fucking bullshit. And if you don't take it, you're the only one. Not that this money is worth anything, but you're going to be the only one to like have no money. So again, hence the barter system. Convert the money that you have now into something valuable, like gold or silver. And if that's unattainable, then you have to think what's valuable to you. And dude, yeah, looking for a good long-term job right now that will take care of you, I would say abandon that plan. Come up with a new plan. And especially, you're a smart guy, man. You'll think of something. I make a little more than 2 grand a month after taxes. Yep, that's a good wage too, or like it used to be before they raised minimum wage. And you have specialized work, man. Like you have to know your shit to do what you do. Working for the cable company. That's not unskilled labor. You work with electrical circuits and phone lines and stuff like that. And there's a lot can go and at heights probably. But you go into people's houses too, and you're fucking exposed, and you're forced to work, and you're probably not getting any extra now. And if you are getting extra, it's like a set amount extra that they arbitrarily decided that every employee gets extra. You can't like call your boss and say, you know what, like I'm not going out unless you give me $500 today, or I don't want to go to this part of town because this guy busts my balls every time. But tickets to the fucking hockey game or whatever, fuck. Like okay, 25% more. Okay, cool. Yeah, but you had no say in it. And look, dude. I'm not saying this makes you a bad guy. Okay, like please, like don't. I know you're not getting defensive, but like you take my point. And if someone, let's say, didn't want any more money, then you wouldn't have to pay them because someone's willing to work for less. Again, it's all this is subjective. And to decide like universally for everyone, it's almost always wrong. It should come down to the individual. And if you want to charge a price that's too high that you don't think people are going to pay, well, then people don't pay it. And that's what fucking happens. And that's all that happens. And you either hold out and you up your service game to kind of ensure that people will pay a higher price, or you lower your price. Lyra Miguel, machining CNC certification is very good to have more options to get a job. Dude, I think you're looking at it the wrong way, man. And I don't think it is very good to have. I think it's good in the sense that everything is becoming automated now. And CNC machining is part of that automation to replace traditional metalwork. I have a background in metalworking, by the way, before I got into this whole mess. That's what I used to do. I used to do metal fabrication and welding, and I went to trade school actually for auto body repair, painting, and mechanics. And CNC machining has they've taken all the art out of these fucking trades. And now even an auto body repair technician doesn't even know what panel beating is, doesn't even know how to form a piece of metal by hand or make adjustments on a piece of metal. It's only prefabricated equipment. It's always prefabricated equipment on everything. The auto body tech is only required basically to know how to fucking take off a fender and put on a new fender. But if a fender's dented, like again, you're gonna need like a little bit of work. And if the one you get from the jobber is slightly different, which it always is, or if the car is slightly, but people, they plan for the bare minimum and they say, oh, the machine does it now. And CNC, like, that's replaced blacksmithing. Have you looked for YouTube videos on like, how to forge a sword or something? And like half the videos are fucking it's guys forging with like CNC machines. That's like the computer that does everything. Dude, like, and again, machining CNC certification is very good to have more options to get a job. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, again, what is CNC, like we know what it is, but Lyra Miguel, like, why aren't you saying something like machining CNC is cool because you can do cool shit and like the pay is also good or something? But like right away, like straight with the kind of attitude that if I do this, like I'll find someone to take care of me. And if certain jobs are going more towards automation, which some of them are, some of them it can't be helped. Some of them that like, a robot could do very easily should be fucking automated. And the welding shop I worked at, we had a robot welder, but the robot welder needed to be manned by a person. And it was very tedious. And the robot welder was slightly faster than a human, but it cost a fucking shitload of money. And they were doing an experiment to see what the benefits were of the robot welder versus a human, or the robot welder plus a human operating it versus a human, salary and cost wise and everything. And this place ran a fucking super tight ship. And, oh yeah, Elon Musk is launching satellites in space for universal internet. Yes, Elon Musk, the savior of mankind. You, universal 5G internet. Sorry, there's something going on outside. I'll be right back. Yeah, it's just some clatter across the street. Also, that's the only way you could broadcast a signal and get it everywhere on Earth, with a satellite. Like towers aren't tall enough. So it's a good way. It's a good way to get 5G everywhere. Yeah, so as for the robot welder, so the robot welder was not cost effective. Now, this is just my experience in the matter, and I worked on an assembly line where the assembly was very technical and time sensitive, but so this is a place like where the robot could do a decent job because it's, a variety of products, but it's the same process thousands of times over and over again. And it wasn't cost effective. Now, like the human element in CNC machining is already very small. It's very small. Like essentially the computers do everything now. It just takes a person to implement like the information into the computer. And that's it. And it's not, instead of just looking at the statistics of like what the demand is right now, if you ask yourself, why is there a demand for it right now and how sustainable could that demand be? I think you would see that. I don't know. I don't think there's a future in it. And not only that, I think it fucking sucks as a fucking thing. I think it's not a trade. I think it's like I don't know. I think like engineers do that kind of want to get their hands dirty, but no, they don't have it in them to actually really get their hands dirty. Yeah, what do you guys think of Elon Musk, by the way? I know that he's on the same page as Bill Gates for a lot of this stuff. And I don't think Bill Gates is the friend of humanity that people think he is either. But back to the stimulus package. It's huge. It's $2,000 a month, and even though it's April 11th, the first stimulus is for last month. So it covers a period of March 15th to April 15th. And I think it's 4 months right now. I think applicants have to apply every month. And get this, if you're not qualified, they send it to you anyway. They verify it after. You have to pay it back on your taxes. Like as if that's gonna fucking matter. So my point is, what I would have liked to have seen during the supposed pandemic is either everything shuts down because what is it dangerous outside or not? How dangerous is it? When, where, how, who? Sometimes, all the time, anytime, no time. What? Or nothing shuts down. And that's it. Either way, the market would have fucking regulated itself. And, you know, the more look, dude, I'm just saying that I think you should let your mind lead where your body goes, kind of, in terms of choosing a job. And it's no small feat. And the thing that you think you want to do today or this year, it might not be what you want to do in 5 years. And that's not to say you shouldn't do it, but it's not to say that it's wrong either. You can change, and dude, just think of something that you would like to do and forget about people's perceptions of that thing. Forget even like what the standard fucking pay is for it. Like that should be the last thing on your mind. Think of what you would like to do more than anything else in the world and how you could do that. And if you would be okay doing that. Like there's no wrong answer as long as it's for the right reasons. And that will guide you through every other part of the job. When times are tough, especially when times are tough, like it's not even an option. Oh, what am I going to do now? It's like, yo, I'm going to keep doing what I do. It's like, it's like skateboarding. I don't skateboard because it's cost effective. I skateboard because it's fun and because I want to do it. That's it. If I want to go skateboarding, I want to go skateboarding. And if I hurt myself skateboarding or if something happens, I'm not like thinking of a new sport to try. It's it. It's skateboarding. It's or if someone does, or if a girl, like, I don't know, she doesn't like that I skateboard or something, you think like I'm going to stop it. Like, no, this is what I do. It's fun for me. It's not even a fucking question. It's so simple. And I don't need to like go look up sports or activities or pastimes and see which one looks the most promising, which one I'm the least likely to hurt myself. No, I want to do it, so I do it. The rest is all details. And, jobs are not skateboarding, but it's very similar. Why would you do something that you don't want to do? You're going to be spending most of your life doing this one thing. If it's not what you want to do more than anything else, why are you doing it? And especially if you trained to do said thing. Why are you training to do something that you don't want to do the rest of your life? And I don't mean something that like you'd be okay doing. I mean something that you really, really, really want to do. Something that is so much fun for you that you dream about it at night. And it's on your mind almost all the time. And you still get like the jitters of excitement almost every day you go to work. That type of job. What would it be? Different people want to do different things. It could be anything. And I used to think that for me, it would be certain things, and I tried those things, and they weren't as fulfilling as I thought they'd be. And, this stuff, it happens naturally, but what you do ends up being a reflection of who you are as a person, just not in the way that people tell you it is. Like, for instance, said job doesn't equal certain type of person. What matters is how good you are at said job. That's what matters more than anything else. It's how good you are at what you do. Because that's your bartering chip. That's the only bartering chip you have in life, like it or not. And all that's been converted into whatever currency that you've chosen to invest in. But that's it, man. Like your balance in your bank account and all your possessions and all your accomplishments, even the shape you're in, the health you're in, all this is a direct reflection of how good you are at what you do and how well or how poorly you've been able to market yourself. And I can say this because I'm an expert at marketing myself poorly, and doing a lot of work and not having a lot to show for it. So the challenge now and the goal now is, for me anyway, to go in the other direction, and still keep working hard, but to not have to do so much work in order to get, little to no results, to be able to get a higher output to input ratio than the one I have right now, which is, it's normal. That's how the fucking curve works. So look, man, and when you go down this road, it doesn't seem like you're working, even though you're working all the time. And you're constantly problem solving because you're always trying to either maintain your standard of living or better your standard of living. And your standard of living, like what constitutes a good standard of living, it's completely subjective. It's up to you. And again, another reason why you should work for yourself, because you get to control all of this shit. And yes, a lot of factors aren't under your control, but it's like you don't have to control the fucking which way the wind blows to sail the boat through it. Like you can adapt. That was a poor analogy, and I don't sail, but I was able to think of it. But like, yeah, it's a fucking paramount importance that You pick something that you really like to do. And that something might not be on a list. And a lot of people are probably going to shit on you for doing the something that you want to do, or tell you that you can't do it, or that you shouldn't do it, or that it's a fool's errand. And like, that's, if you're hearing that, that's a very good sign. And the things that are usually universally loved and universally praised, it's an understatement to say that those things are not always as good for us as we're led to believe. So think too, man. Think. I know you said you wanted a family before, but why do you want a stable job to put a down payment on a house? Just to have like some kids and fill the mold. If that's really what you want, then do it. But I don't think it is. I mean, maybe you want a family, like that's cool, but wouldn't you want a frontier wife or something like that? I know that, like, if I weren't so fucking happy being single, like that's what I would want. I want a bitch who'd be willing to fucking come off grid with me and fucking do the laundry while I fucking go catch dinner, and like that's it, fuck. I think that'd be fucking cool. And those are cool series too. If you watch, if ever you guys watch like prepper videos or like off grid life videos and stuff like that, where they do like little documentaries on like families that live off grid, and it's not easy, man. It's not easy, but you build your entire fucking lifestyle yourself, and you build your whole compound and homestead yourself. And your goal isn't to have a life with no work. It's not to work pointlessly, but it's to work efficiently, and to use nature's momentum. And you realize how gratuitous, like so many other things are, that you thought you needed so much that probably right now you're thinking, it'd be a nightmare if I had to go without this or without that. And you don't need either of those things. You just need this and this. And don't lie to yourself. That's how we got into this whole fucking mess. So yeah, we've all lived off grid up until like 100 years ago. Yeah, I'm gonna pin that. As soon as it shows up on my stream. Well, dude, Lyra Miguel says, thank you for sharing those words. You're very wise. I don't think I'm wise, but thanks. Thanks anyway. But I'm trying to help. I mean, I'm trying to help myself first and you guys second. Because, again, if I can encourage you guys, to live the way you want to live, and I'm living the way I want to live, then we can do business together, even if it's indirectly, because we're all capable of thinking outside the box. It's like, let's say they ban cash, but you don't want to buy into the system. You don't want to go for the digital currency. You're going to have to find other people that'll trade in cash. It's as simple as that. So, you want to convince people to trade in cash because you trade in cash. So, I like to think that rational thought is my cash, is my currency. And everyone is afraid of so many rules and regulations. And when there are no rules and regulations, people make up rules and regulations or hypothetical rules and regulations. Like, oh, I don't think I'm breaking any rules. I looked it up. I'm not breaking any rules, but someone might think I'm breaking some rules and they might tell on me if I do this. And it's like, yo, dude, you can't think like that. You can't. And even if you do, okay, we can never fucking function. I will never do a job for a person like this. It'll never fucking end. It'll never end. And they're going to need endless approval from the city, and then the government's going to enter in all of my shit. Like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. Yo, can you cut this tree? Yes. Go get a permit from the city. How much does that cost? $40. But I don't want to get the permit. Okay, don't get it. Pay me $100 and I'll do it on a day the city's not working, but you got to play ball and like, but that's it. I'll charge more. But yeah, get it. Okay. Like get it done. Like that's it. It's as simple as that. But if you want to go into it and think like, oh, well, maybe the neighbors will be bothered, so I shouldn't do it today. And that neighbor is not home, but he's home and he's not bothered. But the other neighbor, I don't know if he's home or not, but he might be bothered if I cut this tree down. So I'm going to knock on his door and it's like, yo, just do it. Just do it. The damage is going to be done like before they even have a chance to get mad. And it's done. It's done. So you need to find people like this, that are willing to jump first. Jump first without thinking of all the things that fucking go wrong. And, someone's going to say, yeah, all those people are dead. They're not dead. They're not. They found out ways to build planes before hitting the ground. You should listen to those people. Like, these people are your best friends in the fucking world right now. People telling you to jump before you're ready. People that are telling you to wait until you're ready before kind of venturing out into the wild. They're full of shit, man. You will never be ready. Especially your first time, no matter how much you fucking prepare. So go get that fucking initial slap in the face. You'll smarten up pretty quick because you realize how unprepared you are. But everyone goes through it. It's a rite of passage. Like everyone does their first job, so to speak. You pop your cherry. And then you learn very quickly what you're doing wrong. Because until you jump, all you can do is predict. And you just predict all these ways that everything can go wrong. And then you realize it's better not to jump. It's better if I just kiss the ring and accept, this fucking, this pen that's been given to me. Hey, what's up? Hedy Lukil, if that's how you pronounce your name. Hello, man. Catching the stream late, man. Not your fault, but they took me down yesterday. So I don't know how long this one's going to be up. I'm going to try to upload it after. Well, it's going to upload automatically, but yesterday they hid the comments because we were talking about 5G and Bill Gates and coronavirus and a bunch of other stuff that we're not supposed to be allowed to talk about ever. So they hid the chat and then they hid the video. So I want to see if the same thing's going to happen today. So we've just been kind of talking about the state of things for the past 2 hours. And I find I'm going off on too many tangents now, and I'm sidetracking myself. So I'm sorry, dude, you just showed up, but you're catching the tail end of the stream. But I'm going to end it right now because I got stuff to do. And like I said, I'm rambling and I'm repeating myself. I'm also getting a little bit hungry. So to everyone that was here, thanks for fucking stopping by. Thanks for putting your fucking input in the chat. It's worth more than you know. It's worth tons right now. Right now, very few people are talking about this shit. You're not allowed. And if you are, you're only allowed to say certain things. And, communicating with each other is pretty much the only way that, we can arm ourselves in, again, this fucking unprecedented situation. So to everyone that fucking stopped by and gave their 2 cents in the fucking chat comments, really appreciate it. And like I keep saying, but never doing, I will get onto a fucking schedule with these live streams. And I would like to do them at a set time. Even 2 a day would be fucking awesome. 1 in the morning, 1 at night. But I'm going to figure that shit out and listen to the people and see what the market will dictate. So have a great weekend, guys. Happy Easter. Stay safe, stay productive, and always think outside the box. Best of luck.